So back to the fridge saga, the riveting fridge saga. Who knows? At this stage, it still is a mystery if this will ever become something. Hi, welcome back. My name is Aladino, and together with my wife Maya, we are refitting a Cape George Cutter 36. It's getting hectic in here. Last week I started working on making our custom fridge. It was a bit challenging to start. I had to make many cuts twice. There is many very challenging angles, and it's a new material to work with for me. And so I was also experimenting a bit with what adhesive to use to glue it all together and things like that. So check that out. But this week we're gonna get mighty close to finishing the whole thing. But there's one little hiccup. I ran out of spray foam after actually choosing what adhesive I want to go with. I did not know how much I would need, so we're waiting on another spray can of the great stuff, the low gap filling one. So when that one arrives, we can continue. So one thing that I was working on is getting the tops for the V-berth. We are doing a mix of reusing some of the original ones. If we have spare plywood at the end and still some time, we might redo them completely, because I would like a design with more airflow. This is just wishful thinking. So for now, I'm adjusting the old tops just so that we can get access to our redesigned new chain locker. We moved the chain locker further aft. It is now partially underneath the V-berth, so we'll need to access that. I made some cuts to the original tops, and that is the cut so that this can actually hinge up. That's the plan for now. Maybe I'll cut plywood in the future. Maybe it will be a one-piece lid. For now, I'll just glue the tops that we have permanently in, install a hinge here as a little prototype test piece, and glue both halves together so that they hinge up as one. But that's the idea. I went on a rampage of making a lot of templates for new parts in the boat.
When I saw you walking down that hill, head high and shoulders back, watching you was such a thrill. All that I could do was laugh. I couldn't hold it back. I couldn't hold it. I couldn't hold it back. We were running on that open shore. No saddle on his back.
It has been a successful morning of cutting out parts. The table is free now. I can continue with the fridge. The foam has arrived and I'm ready for some more messy spray foam. I gotta clean up a seam in here. Always when I add a component, it foams up quite a bit. The tape helps. And then this panel is going in place. Wait, ooh, it's the second last panel. So this one goes in here, and then there is the third bottom, this funny looking thing. Then, except for the lid, we are complete. And I'm still brainstorming if I'm putting on a little bit of a thin plywood and glassing over that, or if I'm glassing over the whole tub, or if I make a mold. It's one day at a time here.
Everything I do cries out for mercy. Sweet Irene, won't you pick up the phone? Sweet Irene, won't you pick up the phone?
And how's it going?
Good. That's the box. Now I'm brainstorming holding plate locations, and I have a few different sizes to choose from. So I'm trying to see how best to orient it and which one to choose. I'm pretty happy how things are coming along with the fridge, but I haven't mapped this out from start to finish in my head. I guess my process whenever I don't have the answer is to just have that question stuck in a loop in my head. And when I'm doing other things, that's what I'm thinking about. And when I go to bed, that's what I'm thinking about. So all of a sudden I might have a solution or an approach on how to continue on it. And I'm also super excited to fill you guys in on the components that will go into this fridge. There will be a lot more in coming episodes, of course, but we have decided to go with a cool blue compressor from Technotics, which is a holding plate system, and it's air cooled, so it doesn't require a through hole or water. It runs when we're on the hard doing refit. Yeah, I'm really excited about that system. And that all came about thanks to one of our patrons, Ben, who knows the owner of the company, Charlie. So they decided to help us out on this one, and we couldn't be more grateful and happy about it. Yeah, creme de la creme stuff here. And I've been in conversation with Ben, which is really helpful. He knows a lot more about fridges than I do. So we discussed the system, the layout, the measurements, and yeah, I know exactly what size holding plate I'm getting. So I can, yeah, really build things to the dimensions. Now we've got to continue of actually getting a fiberglass tub on the inside, or a stainless one, or gold, or copper. So yeah. I'm just saying there's so many ways to tackle it. I could have started with the liner and then built the foam around it. I decided to start with the foam, and now I'm slowly working towards the inside. Now there's a few options. One is to fiberglass it directly in here, but I think that would be messy and give me a lot more cleanup with the oscillating multi-tool, the Dremel, the sander doesn't really fit, so it would be kind of awkward. So instead, I made templates of each face. There is 1/8 of an inch sheets of fiberglass, and that is, I think, how I'm gonna proceed right now. The overall cost of the fiberglass is worthwhile, even to the extent where it's worth just getting one and working on other things meanwhile, instead of trying to make a sheet of fiberglass myself. That is very easy too. But the temperatures are not here. I would have to set up the table and peel ply and plastic foil and then fair it all and sand it. So I think getting a thin sheet of fiberglass might be worthwhile. So then I could trace the templates directly onto the pieces of fiberglass, put those in, do the fillets and the tabbing, and we're one step closer. I gotta look into the material, order some. Right now I was working on a template of the size of our compressor unit, but more when we get to the actual unpacking and installation. I'm really excited about this fridge. It actually ended up bigger than I initially thought. It's gonna be real nice. Also, by coincidence, a full wine bottle fits. That's why we cannot make it too thick either. It just fits.
That slides into place so nicely.
Yeah. Pretty cool fridge, hey?
It's super awesome.
Not cool yet. But. So this piece is gonna be permanently installed. This is part of the lid. This is hopefully exactly what we see when we have the opening, when we open the lid. And this is our holding plate. That's the measurement, 22 by 10. And it's gonna go scoot in the back here. Where my hand is holding it right now, that's where we'll have space for the connections, expansion valve and such. And then the hoses will come out here on the high corner.
Meanwhile, I am doing, you guessed it, sanding. We got a comment the other day from someone being like, the sanding is getting repetitive. I'm like, yeah, tell me about it. I couldn't agree more. But we're trying to refinish all the interior of the boat and get a really, really nice coat of varnish on all of the wood. And in order to do that, we need to sand it down. All of the wood was treated with a sort of reddish stain. You can see it up here. And it's just not that pretty. It really sort of hides the grain, and with just a light sanding, it does come off fairly easily, although you do have to be careful on all of the plywood surfaces, because of course that's pretty thin veneer. So I'm sanding all of the teak and using really, really fine grit, like I'm using 220 to sand it all. And then we can put some varnish on it and it will look beautiful.
Yeah.
It is really satisfying to see that kind of reddish stain come off and see the real beauty of the wood underneath, because it is really beautiful. And I just think that I prefer the sort of lighter orangey color of the teak so much more than the red. And I'm also like, is this a priority to get us in the water? Of course not. But we've also sort of come to the conclusion, like, the most helpful I can be to this project is just doing things that I know how to do, so that I don't have to take Aladino's time to teach me new things. I'm not terribly fascinated learning new things. So
it is kind of the right stage too, though, because otherwise you got to take hardware off again,
Totally.
always move the cushions and the interior, all of that. So it is great.
Yeah.
And I very much appreciate you doing that.
Yeah. All right, so that's my day/week/months coming up.
Nice.
And I don't know if we're gonna get to the overhead. I'm dreading that.
I know we don't.
I don't think we'll do that
No.
right now, but that'll be a future project.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, the glass liner made it home in our amazing little car. I took away a little piece. This is our destruction sample.
See how strong it is?
See how strong it is?
All right.
I mean, things won't flex in there, but still, that's a good way. That's a good test. It's pretty flexible, more than I thought. There you go, there's the crackling. I mean, I think this could be strong enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a fridge liner.
Gotta test it with the actual...
Jake's gonna look in here and be like, what are you doing?
It's just a small blow. Well, yeah. You can hammer it if it's a corner. I mean, this is really sharp. But
So it does punch through, but hopefully we won't be doing that to our fridge.
Like, you see, if you hit it flat,
I don't know what our fridge is in for. Jeez. Okay, good grief.
I know I have a tendency to overbuild things, but when we got this glass liner, we still had to thoroughly test it. Not that we will slam our fridge with a hammer, but yeah, I want to know what I'm working with here. I don't want to add too much extra work, but I'm not too happy with the liner, so I think we have a solution though that's going to solve that pretty quickly. Alright, now it's a smooth surface. I sanded it. I'm gonna roll over the glass. How about a little side trip to the bakery this morning?
What?
Come on.
Oh gosh.
Oh, do you smell this?
Fortunately I don't smell anything.
No? The smell? freshly baked fiberglass.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's still warm in here.
Oh man. Cool.
So this looks perfect. Next, I had to adhere all the fiberglass liner pieces into the fridge.
I see gold in the air, in promise in the strings. I see love in our hearts, futures in our dreams. It's a tunnel kind of vision, like alcohol's involved. And I'll stray like a hound dog, but I'ma come back when she calls. When she calls, I'll come to her. When she calls, I'll come to her. I had a dream. I had a dream last night, shaking like a soldier in my shoes.
You know, this is amazing.
I am quite pleased so far myself. Yes, thank you.
What an incredible fridge. Look at this.
This is very, very nice.
And we just got this fiberglass sheet yesterday.
Yeah.
And already we sort of have a liner.
I owe it all to you. I do. I owe it all to you.
Instead of mixing fillers into the epoxy, I used Fixo cartridges, which are really nice to work with. Wow. And it's already mixed as it goes through the tunnels.
Wow, that's crazy.
Tunnel kind of vision, like alcohol's involved. And I'll stray like a hound dog, and I'ma come back when she calls. When she calls, I'll come to her. When she calls, I'll come to her. When she calls, I'll come to her. When she calls.
The next day I cleaned up the edges and I was pretty pleased with the results.
I had a dream last night, shaking like a soldier in my shoes. I had a dream.
These cartridges, or the mixing valves rather, they actually work. This is enough length and enough labyrinth in here to mix the epoxy so that it hardens and cures. Of course, otherwise this product wouldn't be out. But I did clean it up with the fine. Every surface is sanded now, and as you can see where the tape is where I'm gonna apply fillets now.
It all to you.
Here it is.
Here it is, that's what it looks like now. Always small evolving changes. So yeah, you can see this is the glass I used. I still had leftover from when I built the dinghy. It's like 1 inch little pieces of fiberglass that I put into every seam. And then I rolled on some coats of epoxy, but then I ran out of pigments. I want to keep this all white. I don't know, sometimes I just get an idea in my brain and I go with it, and at the end I might even paint it, so that didn't really matter. Yeah, it can be seen as a good primer. It was a little warmer today, so I immediately switched over to some fiberglassing tasks, and one at hand was putting in this new bulkhead, so I went at it right away.
Okay, and what about the fridge? I thought it doesn't fit through the hatch.
Oh no.
What?
Just kidding. The bulkhead is fiberglass thin, but I hope it is removable. Hear me out. So
What are you talking about?
there is duct tape behind the fiberglass on that side, and this one is just held in by hot glue. That is because once the fridge is in place, I cannot add the tabbing, the fiberglass tabbing. So now I have the tabbing in place. When I put the bulkhead into place, I just need to add some glue and then smush the bulkhead into place. It's not exactly adhered in the same way, but at least it's supported from both sides then. But yeah, fingers crossed I can actually get the bulkhead off again.
Nice.
Oh, it worked.
It worked flawlessly, like everything you do. What a surprise.
By now I had completed all the fillets and it was time to test fit the entire fridge into its spot again because I had some new tabs on the hull.
Look at the migratory turtle.
Now I'm a hermit.
You're a hermit crab.
Am I gonna pass there?
Yep.
Perfect fit.
What a surprise.
Wow. All right, just like every week, I'm gonna leave you with a cliffhanger. No. And I'm very happy about this and the bulkhead because that's actually more of the priority. I really want to close up the boat. So yeah, the fridge is nicely moving along. I expect next I'm gonna be working on the lid and on the hole, the tube, installing the holding plate, making good mounts for it, stuff like that. Meanwhile, the interior progressed nicely. All the teak trim is nicely sanded. So soon we're gonna start varnishing that up, which is exciting.
So you can see the natural teak color coming through now, and yeah, I definitely prefer it. I think it looks really nice, and especially with some varnish, it's going to be beautiful. And it's a very fiddly little job. You can see I've taped all around here so as to not scratch our new paint. Maybe the order of operations could have been done better, but we're not perfect. Over here, it's all sanded. Also, it looks a bit different because the light is hitting it differently. But yeah, I'm happy. It's going to have some beautiful Epiphanes varnish on it. And one day this will look good, believe it or not. Thank you so much for being here. Huge thank you for watching. Extra big thanks to our patrons, and an extra big thanks to the folks whose names are now appearing on screen for always going the extra mile to make sure that Magic Carpet keeps being produced. We will see you all, as always, next Friday.